Marketing major, yay or nay? Well, I went and I got my marketing degree like 10 years ago. So I can talk about this. Let's talk about this. I'm going to give you a yay if you want to work for someone. I'm going to give you a nay if you want to be your own boss right now. Or you just want to save a boatload of cash, because we're talking about a degree that's going to cost some money, right? We're going to be putting out all this money. You obviously want to get a return on your investment. So what does that involve? Let's get into this, okay? Because you're looking at a cost of anywhere from $25,000 to $200,000, depending on whether you're a Ivy League type individual, depending on your grades, depending on who you want to end up being a student of. Like, you want to be a Harvard student, like, it just depends on how you want to set it up. So, well, I finished my degree and it was like 2011, so quite a long time now. And I can give you all the tips, the things that I would have done if I had done it all over again. I don't regret my decision at all. I think it was a good decision and it helped me in my career. But, it depends on what your situation is. So let's just go over that. Let's go over what your situation is. Before we even get into whether or not you want to do a marketing major, I'm going to give you this recommendation that likely you won't follow, because no one ever does. But if you're a student who's maybe in high school, let's just use high school as an example. Well, your best option is to actually go to the schools that you're interested in being a marketing student at, and sitting in on the lectures while you're in your last grade of high school. You should be doing this, right? You should be doing this research right then, right there. Don't be going around applying to random schools. Actually, see if you can go to the schools and sit in on class lectures. Why not? Nobody ever does this. It doesn't make any sense to me why no one does this, because the school doesn't tell you to do this, but I'm telling you to do this. Your school counselor is not going to say, hey, why don't you sit in on those class lectures and see if it's actually interesting to you. No, not a single counselor did that for me. So this is a huge tidbit, and I want to start off with this because it could save you a lot of money. You could go to a class and then find out, whoa, this is not for me. Wouldn't you rather know that beforehand instead of just arbitrarily choosing a major and not knowing? So that's something that I recommend. Go into the class lectures, sit in, okay? It's free to do this. You don't have to pay to sit in on a lecture, and just see if it interests you, right? Take this to another step, right? Talk to the professors. Talk to the professors after the lecture. Find out what's going on with them. Is it something that they would recommend you do? Maybe the professor's like, hey, you know what? No, you shouldn't even be in this class. You could just go and do something on your own. That's what you want to find out. And a professor might tell you something that you didn't know. And they're in it. They're in the thick of it, right? They could tell you about the curriculum. Just have a discussion with them. This is all going to save you so much money if you're considering a marketing major or not. Maybe you're not even in high school. Maybe you're in your 30s or 40s, right? And you're thinking, hey, maybe I should go back to school. Well, this still applies, right? You're 40 years old. You can still go to a class and ask questions, find out, right? So I'm wanting you to be proactive here. Most people won't listen because it's easier just to pay for the education and just be surprised when you're there. Big mistake. Be proactive. Do the research. That's my recommendation. And let's move to the next thing. There might be this fear of missing out, right? So everyone else has a degree, or they're going for a degree, and you're young and maybe you want to go for the degree as well. Well, don't follow the herd, and that includes your friends, because what I found out when I was in my marketing classes was none of my friends were actually in the same class as me. We were literally doing different classes and scheduling never matched up. So don't worry about this whole fear of missing out, okay? If you decide to skip university, it's not the end of the world. You could even take a year off if you want. It's not the end of the world. The reality is, unless you're going to a very, very small university where everyone knows each other, I mean, it's just unlikely that you're going to end up in the same scheduling and whatnot. So examine the program. See if your heart connects with it first and foremost, not if your friend's heart connects with it, okay? Two different hearts here. Do not make any more decisions based on what your friends are doing, okay? That's so important. I mean, in high school, sure, you can go and do the same classes together. It's a tight-knit group. But now this is the big leagues, okay? Now you're talking about throwing down some money here, whether it's your money or your parents' money or the government's money. We're talking some serious decision-making. This is not something that you do based on someone else's emotion or even your desire to be all lovey-dovey with somebody that you've known for 5 years. Get ready to make new friends. You're likely both end up in different scenarios. So, and you know what? Why make your career revolve around someone else? Doesn't really make sense. I mean, let's look at a comparison to the STEM fields: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Like, the STEM fields requires, like, they require a degree to actually get a job. You want to be a civil engineer, you can't just be one off the street, right? A civil engineer needs to go through a number of different courses. This is why university appeals to those who are interested in engineering. Thing is, you can be a businessman right off the street. You could be a marketer right off the street. You don't even need a degree. So it's debatable as to whether you would need the degree if you just want to be a businessman. In comparison to the arts, well, business is way better for your corporate future. But, I mean, you can still make it work for the arts, right? Like, I can name plenty of marketers who had an arts degree, right? Psychology is a good one. If you've got psychology and you understand people and you can understand behavior, that could actually work out well for you. So psychology is like an exception to the arts. It's probably one of the better arts degrees out there if you're looking at a legitimate arts degree. You know, Seth Godin, who's a top marketer, he's got like a philosophy degree. So, you know, but again, this is someone who's ignoring the herd and going after a different sort of future, not the corporate future. So that's, again, what you have to keep in mind. Corporate future, entrepreneurial future. Like, what do you want to go for? Let's break it down year by year. So first year, you're on this elective binge, elective courses that are just random about anything, or what, like, it could be an elective on political science, which is what I've done. It's ideal to know roughly where you're going, as courses can be taught. They can be tough to register for. So what this means is scheduling is tough. Teachers don't exist at all hours of the day. So if you're in this scheduled program, there's only certain times that the teacher is available. So when you choose your courses has an effect on even your third and fourth year of university. This is why you want to look at trying to get as many courses through as you can and try to pack up your schedule, especially in the beginning. Why? Well, because it'll be very difficult to schedule things later on. Courses that you need to take are not as easy, whereas elective courses you can easily batch together and schedule them properly. But it becomes a little bit more difficult. So, your scheduling is really important. This is where choosing a university that has multiple locations would be helpful. I had a university that had 4 different campus locations. So if I couldn't get into the Burnaby campus, I could go to the Surrey camp, just various cities. So I could go to a different campus if scheduling didn't work out. That's what I like about multi-campus education systems. So in your first year, it's just a crap show. You just have plenty of different courses you have to take, okay? Ideally, you did all your research. You figure, hey, I feel really good about these courses that I'm about to take. Kudos to you if you can plan it all out. First, second, third, and fourth year, have a rough idea of how it's all going to come out. But you know what? You'll be surprised. The third and fourth year, you might end up having to take something entirely different. The second year, more electives, okay? So you're not even getting into the thick of things yet. We're not even talking about a marketing education yet. Your first and second year, it's a lot of electives. Now, they're business-oriented electives, like economics for me, accounting, finance. I did a marketing 101, I think it was second year. So, you do get some business things. Now, this is why choosing at least a business major is important, right? You don't have to choose marketing as a concentration yet, but knowing that you're doing a business major is helpful. Why? Because then you can do business-oriented education in the first and second year versus general studies, which would actually set you back if you do too many general courses. So, knowing that you're going to do a business degree, maybe you don't know if it's going to be HR, finance, accounting, or marketing. Maybe you don't know that yet. That's okay. As long as you acknowledge the fact that you're going to do business, because then you have these business elective courses that you can take, like economics, micro, and macro. Actually, you have to take those if you want the business degree. So that's something to really, really understand. It's just I see so many people that go to university and they pay out all this money to courses that they don't need to take, and it's expensive. For me, when I was in university, if I took a course that I didn't need, it would have cost me $2,000. That's a lot of money. Upwards of $4,000. Now, my education was about $40,000 at the end of the day. I managed to make it work out. University is a decent business school, arguably one of the best in Canada, but even then, that still pales in comparison to a US Ivy League school. But I was very particular about only taking the courses I needed, because I also wanted to finish my degree within 4 years. So I put a little bit more planning into this up front, okay? Because it's a big decision. We're talking about a big investment decision here. Put the time in to really think this through. So third year is really where you have to choose your own adventure. This is where you have to say, I'm going to be a marketer, or I'm going to be an HR person. This is where you really have to be serious. So learn what area of marketing actually interests you if you've decided you're going to do marketing. Is it advertising and promotions? Is it PR, public relations, marketing research, consumer behavior, social media, content, digital? I'm just opening up a can of worms here, aren't I? Now you're thinking, what do I do? It's not just marketing major, it's what interests me. Well, actually, you can still do marketing major. You don't have to know all of those different things. But you know what? A simple Google search, you can find out each one and do some research, see what appeals to you. And then you can understand all the different aspects of marketing. When you graduate, do you want to be known as the digital marketer? Do you want to be known as the advertising guru, the PR maverick? Specializing is helpful. You can be a generalist. Generalists work really well in like marketing management positions. Marketing executives typically need to know a bunch of different things related to the marketing field, but they might specialize in something particular, maybe like data. Speaking of data scientists are now like marketers these days. Even architects are becoming marketers these days. How products are developed and packaged, that can actually apply. So even an architect could come along and be like, hey, I want to do marketing. Sure, they actually have an interesting background and see things in terms of design and branding and packaging that others might not. So that's really fascinating to really dive into if you're thinking, I don't really want to do business. Well, maybe you could do a different field. And heck, even engineering. Engineering could be really helpful in terms of web development, right? So many different layers of what you have to think about. But we're just figuring out, do you need a marketing major, yes or no? At this particular point, I can honestly say it depends, right? As we're going through all this, it really does depend. Depends on a number of different factors and what interests you. But, when I went through school and did all the marketing classes, I never learned about online marketing, social media, video marketing, affiliate marketing. None of that was in school. Just like as I'm making this video, nothing will be talked about in terms of VR, AR, maybe 360-degree live camera and all that. That might not be talked about on your marketing degree. Understand that that's okay. This is all theoretical knowledge that you're learning, and then you get a little bit more practical in the third, fourth year and beyond. So this is theory time. Understand that you will not learn the most common thing and the most up-to-date things. Once you've graduated, it's already outdated. The piece of paper is a symbol of your ability to be perseverant and disciplined. In the fourth year, your home stretch. This is like the fun year, okay? So the third year was really that choose your own adventure. Fourth year is you're just finalizing things off. Hopefully you can get the classes you need. Hopefully there's no overlap. That's always a concern. Say you take like 4 classes in a semester. There's not much flexibility. You almost have to take the time schedule that they offer. Some schools offer night courses. So maybe you're thinking, well, I need a 9-to-5 job. Like for me, I had a retail job while I was going to university. So you need to do night classes. That is feasible in your first and second year. Third and fourth year can be a little bit more tough to juggle, but there are those options out there. These are the questions you ask beforehand to the actual school you're considering. So the home stretch is this fourth year because you can actually finally do the classes that are interesting to you. And advertising and what was it? Advertising and promotions was the fourth one. That fourth year one. That was fun for me. I enjoyed marketing research. Like I was having a fun time. I'm like, why didn't I have this in the first and second year? It's very, very lonely and unhappy in the first and second year. Fifth year is like this overflow, right? So say you just couldn't get all your classes done. I know people that end up going to the 5th year, 6th year just to finish things off, right? I went and did summer classes. I never took a semester off, okay? I went for the whole year to go and learn. So summertime is when I was able to get like 1 or 2 classes over with just to keep things going. And that helped. And that helped me avoid overflow. Overflow is where you have to go into the 5th year taking more and more classes. So something to keep in mind, right? Don't slack during the summertime. That's your opportunity to take a course or 2. And because you don't really want to extend your time. You want to get going on life. Ivy League, university, community college, is the education all the same? For the most part, it is actually mostly similar. I looked at what Harvard was teaching, and it was very similar. So don't really worry so much about the name on the degree. Harvard obviously would help if you have a very particular management consulting company you want to work for, like Bain or McKinsey. You know, those kinds of places might be looking for that top-notch Ivy League education. But, you know, a community college, I know somebody went to community college, they were able to learn most of the things that any other place had. So, and sometimes the professors are even better. It's crazy. But that's what you have to look at. So don't feel like you have to go out of country or out of town just to go to a university that on the paper looks better. But, you know, that's just something that you should just put away because it's not critical. If you're just a brilliant person, then go for it. Go for the best school. For sure. If you've got the cash and it's just flowing, why not? Multi-location should play a factor, though. Okay? If it's a small school, it might take you forever. If it's a community college, it could take forever to finish that degree. You might not even be able to do a full degree with a community college. And transferring credits is not guaranteed. You might lack in terms of courses that you need, or a course might not be exactly the same. So not everything is transferable. After talking to people that had transferred to my university, I learned that transferring is hell. It is not easy. People struggled to match up their courses. So it'd be best if you choose the place you want to go to and stick with it. So that's really in a nutshell what it is. In terms of the overall experience at university, mine was not the most ideal, but what I can recommend is getting involved with people, having connections, talking to people, maybe joining clubs in interests or areas that interest you. Do that. Try to make it a good experience. Don't always be studying, okay? I was always behind the books, and that was no fun. Take some time, have some fun, do some partying. That's important. That actually is, because you're building relationships, and that's critical for the real world. You know, there are practical alternatives to a marketing education, okay? In terms of certifications and whatnot. Google Analytics has a certification. Facebook has an online ads course structure called Blueprint. It's where you can learn how to do online ads with Facebook. If that's what you want to be as an online advertiser, go for it. You could work on local startups. It's likely a startup or maybe a small business, and you could handle things for them as an intern. Maybe it's administrative stuff to start, but just doing that is better. You could be an unpaid intern if you want, or get paid. Plenty of startups need help, so that's a good option. Take over their social media feeds. Handle stuff for them, and you will be rewarded because no one else is doing that, okay? Take initiative. Or handle your own social media. Maybe you've got a bunch of social media accounts that you're not really pushing out there. Why not grow them? See how you can grow them. See if you can be a social media marketer. Another one that you can do for learning and also network connections is interviewing CMOs, okay, Chief Marketing Officers, or other marketers for that knowledge gain. Now that might sound intimidating, but you will find that most people love talking about their careers. So if you ask them, they would be happy to sit down with you and talk about their journey in marketing. And that's really tremendously helpful. I'm telling you, this is gold. If you can sit down and talk with these executives and learn from them. The knowledge you will get will be better than any 4-year education. Attend top marketing conferences. Rub shoulders with people. Top marketing conferences, I'll put an asterisk on this one. A lot of people are going to a conference to sit and listen to a speaker. There are time slots for networking and socializing. For me, it was always intimidating. I didn't feel 100% comfortable talking to people, but that's a good thing. It means I should do more of it. Because if I do more of it, I'll get better at it, and you will too. So rub shoulders with people. I guess the next piece is the Marketing Mba. Okay? That's another alternative. If maybe you're an engineer, you have a degree already in another field. Maybe an MBA would be interesting, a master's in business. It's great for people who already have a degree in something else, like engineering, math, or whatever, data, and they want to make this switch. Material in an MBA is more practical from what I learned, because I was interested in doing an MBA. And then I found out, I don't think I'm going to be learning much more than what I already learned in my undergrad. So there is more practical work, it's more hands-on, but a lot of it does replicate a bachelor's degree, okay? The undergrad degree. So just keep that in mind, okay? So I hope all this helps. One of the things that I mentioned is a degree is the sign of perseverance, of discipline, okay? It's a sign of you being able to stick with things, a sign of loyalty. That holds prestige among corporations. They want someone with staying power because it shows they'll be loyal, and nobody wants to deal with turnover. That's a very expensive thing. So that degree is a sign of all of that. It's your ability to persevere in life, to build your career with 4 years. Your alternative is you can build your career with 4 years on your own. And it's a very dark, lonely road. Mentally, for your mindset, you need to make sure that you can handle that, because not everyone can, and it will destroy them. So remember that. Figure out if that's who you kind of are as a person. And if you aren't, don't do it. Some people need the structure of a school education, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And it's actually important that you understand that that's who you are or that's who you aren't. Because that structure is going to be helpful to you living life properly. Learn as much as you can. Connect with others in the field while attending. Do not just study the books. It does not help. And another thing, the textbooks are long. They are long, and you will not read all of them, or you'll try to, and you will not like reading afterwards. So get through it. I know you can. You can totally do it. The 3rd and 4th year, it's way more fun. Smaller class sizes, okay? 1st and 2nd year, big class sizes. 200, 300 students in my lecture halls. 400 at one class. So when you go into the 3rd and 4th years, when it gets really exciting. And that alone could be worth it, okay? Say you're 18 and you just want to get a job right away. You want to get that job, you want to be a marketer right away. Maybe go into something like social media or digital, okay? That's something that business owners would actually love help with, and so many of them do. So many have like Facebook or Twitter or like an Instagram account and they're not using it effectively, well, your opportunity is, it's like low-hanging fruit. It's like taking candy from a baby. You go in, you say, hey, here's what we could do, X, Y, Z, boom, boom, boom. That's your education as a marketing major right there, is just going in there. Even in my 4th year of university, was it as practical as it could be? No. There's maybe 2 classes where I saw enough practicality. Okay. They're not going to have you building a business there, right? I've talked about some of this in another marketing video, so I'm not reinventing the wheel with this particular talk. Some of it's deep diving a little bit more into the nitty-gritty as to why a marketing education could or could not be helpful to someone, okay? And I'm looking at it from the perspective of you being a young person, but you could also be in your 40s. I saw plenty of people who are older who were going to these classes. Here's me, 18 years old, and then there's a 50-year-old guy over there who's attending the classes. Those are fun people to actually go to school with. Like, I don't have anything against that. I think it's great. Lifelong learners, it's really important. There are so many alternatives. So where do you start? Well, you start by saying, hey, I'm interested in being a marketing major. Who do I need to talk to? 1, it's the professors. 2, it's other students in the lecture halls. 3, it's people who are executives who have a marketing degree, who went through it already, who are now in the career field. Those are the people. That'll keep you busy enough to figure out whether it's worth it for you. Yay or nay? If you're an entrepreneur, nay. If you are a corporate individual, you want to be an executive, you want to be somebody in the field working with teams and perhaps having a boss and whatnot, then having the degree education is tremendous. So these are all different aspects to consider. I hope this is all helpful, my little troublemaker. I want you to change things for the better, and hopefully this helps you in your decision making. Let's leave it at that. I hope you had fun. Till next time, bye.